I'm single, so I'm gonna complain about the dating apps. I'm single, so I'm gonna ask if there are any cute men before I agree to the plans. I'm single, so I throw away half my groceries every week. I'm single, so I have to look hot everywhere I go because my husband might be there. I'm single, so I have to post thirst traps so you guys still know that I'm single. I'm single, so your boyfriend's paying for my drinks because I don't have anyone to. I'm single, so I expect you to wing woman me. I'm single, so I'm gonna take a lap at the bar. I'm single, so my dating life is your entertainment. I'm single, so I'm gonna complain about men and say that they're the worst. I'm single, so I'm gonna go on first dates for food. I'm single, so I'm gonna rot away my entire Sunday because I don't have kids. I'm single, so I'm gonna complain about the single tax. I'm single, so stop bringing your husband out with us. I'm single, so I should be able to expense my Botox and filler because how else am I gonna find a man? I'm single, so I'm working on myself. Duh. I'm single, so I have to prioritize going on dates over hanging out with my friends. I'm single, so I shouldn't have to pay. I only have one income.
This woman has several videos on her TikTok profile stating that she is single. There was another one where she asked men for suggestions on places to go to see if a beta provider would approach her. She has tried numerous strategies but hasn't found a man. That's why she says everything people would recommend to a single person. What makes me laugh is that she says, "I'm single, so I must look attractive wherever I go because who knows, my husband might be there." It's like what I tell men. Nowadays, men don't court. It's the women who are actively hunting. That's why you see women going everywhere dressed provocatively, from the gym to hardware stores that have a high number of women buying materials, hoping to attract a provider man. Many of them are women over 30 because, brothers, the wall doesn't forgive.
Unpopular opinion, but men love women that are high maintenance. They love it. Hear me out before you chew me out. There is no bigger insult than being mistaken as low maintenance. Now, being high maintenance is not synonymous to being rude, okay? You still have to be nice and sweet to your partner. But men really love high maintenance women, okay? That's who they're competing for. They're competing for that girl. The girl who has her nails done, her lashes, her fit's on point. She eats well, she goes to the gym, the whole 9 yards. They love it. They eat that up. So remember this, ladies, a man that invests in you values you. It's a flex for a man to brag about how they satisfy their girl. They want to take care of you and your needs, even if that's viewed as high maintenance tendencies. Now, I'm not saying you should have a man chase you, be yourself, have high standards, and watch the right man gravitate towards you. Confident men love high maintenance women. When you look good, you add to their value, so don't forget that. The girls that get it, get it. And the girls that don't, that's why I'm here for you, babe.
And that's why she's still single, because she doesn't have a man willing to endure her high maintenance. Brothers, if a woman has to spend thousands of dollars a month to look average, then she's not beautiful. If you take that woman to a swimming pool, let her take a dip, and you'll quickly realize that what you thought was a beauty score of 9 drops to a 4. A woman who tells a man that he has to pay for her upkeep to stay beautiful is only a woman causing losses in his life. They all demand high-value men, not because these men are more affectionate, have values, or take care of and protect them, but because they have deep pockets to pay for them. It's because they have the money to maintain their glamorous lives where they don't have to contribute anything. They only have to reward you with their presence. These women are a disappointment, brothers, because they will only be a constant drain on your life. They won't help you move forward or level up. They are not women who bet on a man's potential. They are women waiting in line, wanting a ready-made winner. Let me tell you, the moment things start going south, they are the first to jump off your ship and hop onto someone else's yacht. That's why you see them at 30 or older, single, looking for their beta provider to make their final big move in a divorce after a few years.
I just came across a video of a 23-year-old black woman on this app saying to her followers, women peak at 25 years old and then it's downhill after that. Girl, what? I am truly stunned at the level of internalized misogyny that a woman can have at 23 years old. Your life barely even starts at 25 years old. I will be 35 years old this year. I have never felt better. I have never looked better. And I have never been more happier at this age than I am today. So to the other young women out there, please, please, please do not stop your life before it even begins.
And she has never been closer to hitting the wall than now. We all know that the young woman at 23 was right. At that age, she should be trying to find a good man to build a team with. Now that she has youth, fertility, and beauty, she's at her peak social value, able to aim for a winning man. But, of course, it offends the other woman when she says that because she didn't do that in her time. She hit the wall. We all know the wall doesn't forgive. You can be as beautiful as ever, as comfortable as ever, feel like you have the best economic life. But if you don't have a husband, let alone children, it tells us that you haven't reached the pinnacle of a woman. And don't get me wrong, the other path isn't bad, but it's not better either. As we see in various videos, loneliness sets in when you know the biological clock has ticked away, when you know it's past 30, halfway through life. When you know that if you don't find a man soon to start a family, you'll be alone in your later years. That's why it becomes a tough wall to move. The young woman knew this because she surely sees older women going through it. She doesn't want to push against that immovable wall.
High value man wants a high maintenance woman because high maintenance women create winners. A high value man knows with a high maintenance woman by his side, he is going to go further and achieve a lot more in life. Let me explain this to you. So when you are high maintenance, he constantly has to work to impress you. He has to constantly work to wow you. When you are low maintenance, you are easily impressed. He could give you an average gift or take you on an average date and you will be like, wow, that's so amazing. There's nothing left to improve on. So he gets comfortable and just settles. Men have a growth mindset, so you need to have a growth mindset too. You're going to start adding healthy pressure on him so he can achieve his goals. Be the woman that pushes him to take the risk, to start that new business. Support him emotionally on the bad days and celebrate with him on the good days. Dress like a wife, clean and classy. Always smell amazing. Your skin is moisturized and soft. Your hair is clean and tidy. Your positive outlook on life is what's going to drive him to believe that he can achieve more with you by his side. A high value man knows financially he will have to invest a lot more into you than a low maintenance girl. But in the long run, being with the high caliber standard of woman is what's going to get him further and achieve more in life. So of course, being with the high maintenance woman has a higher return on investment in the long run.
And this same mindset is what has led many men to ruin in a divorce because they married a high-maintenance woman who only waited for the right moment to ask for a divorce. We see this with wealthy men who marry these models or actresses with a lot of makeup, always having to be impressed. You see that poor woman marrying this rich man, and in the divorce, voila, a new wealthy woman is born, creating a poor and indebted man. Coincidence, brothers? Of course not. They were blinded by beauty before their eyes, didn't pay attention to the woman who performed acts of service for them, the feminine woman, the woman who covered her expenses by working, the collaborative woman, the woman who decided to take a step back in her career, staying at home with the children, taking care of their descendants. They didn't choose that woman. They opted for the inflatable doll that had to be constantly inflated to keep it from slipping into someone else's hands. Brother, be aware that these high-maintenance women don't fall in love with the man. They fall in love with the lifestyle. If you get involved with them, don't expect them to be there in tough times because their purpose is to enjoy. The moment things start going wrong for you or problems arise, they will deliver the final blow with a divorce. Because we can't both suffer, you have to be the one to suffer, so I can have a share of your income for my next high-value man. Watch out for this, brothers.
Moment of reflection recently where I was thinking back to my mid to early 20s. I was single. I was beating myself up over the fact that I didn't have a relationship, and it seemed like everyone around me was getting into relationships, was getting married. It seemed like they effortlessly hopped from one relationship into the next, and I was left wondering, like, what's wrong with me? How come it's so easy for them to find another person, but it's so hard for me to find a relationship? What is wrong with me? Why am I not worthy of having another person in my life? But then I got to thinking, a 29-year-old that I am right now, I'm so fucking blessed that I have not yet found my person, and that person didn't come in my early 20s. Because I know that the level of maturity that I had in my mid to early 20s versus the level of maturity and self-awareness, understanding about how people operate, how they work, is so much more powerful than what I had in my early 20s. I am now the best person that I've ever been in my life. I know what I want. If I were to have been given my soulmate even maybe a year or two ago, I think I would fumble them so fucking hard. I truly think that while you're in your early, mid, and even gearing towards the end of your 20s, you're still figuring yourself out. You're still figuring out what you want out of life. You're figuring yourself out as a person. So for me to have not found my person, I just think that the wait is gonna make him be that much better. Because my soulmate is about to get the most healed version of myself, because I'm no longer looking for someone to complete me. I'm fully complete within myself. I'm looking for an equal counterpart. And reflecting back to the same people that I was jealous of and that I was envious of, that were in relationships, that were getting married, that were having kids, are now divorcing, breaking up, having to start all over again because they were looking for someone solely based on the fact that they were afraid of being alone. So if you're single and you're in your late 20s and so on, keep that in mind, that not every single person in a relationship is happy and fulfilled. Just think how much better being single is than having to start all over later on in life.
Due to this mindset, you see them at 35 freezing eggs because they're still searching for the perfect man. Women should be more conscious of their actions in their 20s, for example, dating chads, men who bring nothing to the table except their seed. They're like the college type, who makes her experience everything, takes advantage of her, has fun during her prime, and prepares her to find the man they truly love. They all have the same discourse. I had to discover myself to know what I wanted. But you see them in their 20s exploring the mysteries that Chad brings. Then you see them at 29, on the brink of hitting the wall, claiming to be more prepared women who now know what they want and are ready for the beta provider. Of course, after Chad has had his way with her, with all the high mileage and worse, with traumas, just so she can't say she's not well prepared. Now, she's supposedly ready for a healthy relationship. It's like a meme I saw a while ago about single mothers that said, after your 5th child, now you like hardworking, faithful men. Brothers, focus on yourselves. Always remember that you should be the high-maintenance one. Choose from a position of superiority with options, not out of necessity, so you don't end up with women who only want you for your wallet, not for who you are.
Hey guys, so I'm about to have a vulnerable moment. I rarely do this. Don't make me regret it. Okay? I'm gonna let y'all in my business just a little bit. Okay, so let me tell y'all a story about how I will never give a nigga that's not in my league a chance ever again. So you know how guys be like, listen, I swear, like, you ever give me a chance, I'm gonna really show you. I don't fall for those guys, right? I like what I like type person. If you didn't get me within the first 10 minutes of me talking to you, you probably ain't never gonna get me, right? So there was a gentleman that had been reaching out to me, when I tell you, for over 10 years. Over 10 years in my DMs, talking to himself most of the time. Within the past like 3 years, maybe I might have given him my number through Instagram because I was having a vulnerable moment. And we've had conversations before. We've met in person. I just was not interested. Okay. It got to the point where he was so resilient, so persistent that I was like, I guess I'll try. So whatever. He ended up getting my number, and now he's talking to himself in my DMs and texting me every morning, sending me prayers every morning. That's scripture. Okay. I love that. And I went through a really, really emotional time last year. So like little stuff like that was really hitting home for me and, touching my soft spot. So he got cool points for that from me. For whatever reason, I don't really know how my brain functions and why I was allowing certain things to go on, but I did nonetheless. So here we are. I started being like, hey, if I'm in town, I'll hang out. He started being like, hey, I am going to send a flight for you. Come hang out with me. I want to show you that I want to marry you. And I used to respond like, hey, bro, every nigga says that, right? Every nigga wants a piece of you until they get you in and they're gone. No, I'm going to marry you. Like, you're my dream woman. So now I'm like, all right, it's cool. I can go to a wedding with him. I like going to weddings.
Oh, hell no!
Cognitive bias called the sunk cost fallacy. This happens when you've invested so much time in something that you're afraid to let it go. Not because of its current value, but because of what you've already invested. This man clearly spent years climbing a steep uphill mountain with this woman. She even admits it herself. I didn't like him. 10 years of persistence, essentially climbing the Mount Everest of the friend zone. But everything changed when this woman's pool of potential candidates probably in her early 30s or older, at the wall, started to dry up. And, like a good beta provider, with his constant invitations and promises of eternal love, he managed to get her to give him a chance. Not because she was truly interested, but because she needed a distraction. Let's continue.
I like seeing people show posts because I enjoy things like that, right? So I start considering actually flying to go see him. And now I'm like on his page picking him apart. Like, he'll send me videos like, hey, I went and got my teeth cleaned. I know how much you like when people get their teeth cleaned. I was like, okay, effer. He's like, well, I smell real nice. I like that type of stuff too. I'm like, you know what? He's so nice. Let me give him a chance. So I'm looking on his page, like looking at his teeth, looking how tall he is, looking at his body. And then I go, what's up with that hairline? And I look past it. That should have been my telltale sign. I'm looking at all his videos and looks like he has like a freaking painted on hairline, and I still went against my better judgment. He got me. So even after all my investigative work, that hairline, um, he got me. This is how he got me. I went on that boat. When I went on that boat, I got real bored and really, I don't want to say lonely because that wasn't the word, but I was just like in need of some type of energy, right? So he's messaging me while I'm on there, and I was like, you know what? I fly back to Houston I get back to Houston when I get there. Pull up. You live very close to there. Pull up. He was like, oh, I got this, that, and the third on Sunday. I was like, well, don't blow your opportunity. And he was like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to take this opportunity. You're giving me a window of opportunity. I'm going to take it. Oh, Lord. He's like, I'm going to drive down there on Saturday, stop drinking with you about 9 o'clock, and then drive back at 5 in the morning so I can make it back for X, Y, and Z on Sunday. I was like, hey, baby, whatever you choose to do, that's your business. Thirsty, right? So make a long story short, when I got off that boat and got back to the house, he was in Houston waiting for me. And I was like, just pull up to my mom's house. Like, just come hang out. I didn't realize by the time he got there how tired I would be. So now he's at my house, my mom's house, and I am exhausted. I could barely keep up with the conversation. He's chipper. He's ready. You get me? It's about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I am pooped. All right. But he's still there, not leaving, not catching none of the vibes that I'm clearly not being myself. Make a long story short, I get up and go out. We go out. We go to eat and then we go to drink with my cousins and my friends. There were so many signs in the night. So many signs that I should have just took my black ass home, but I chose to stay the night with him because I felt like, he drove all the way here. I could at least stay the night with him. That's the least I could do. Boy.
Hell to the no, no, no. Hell no.
If I chased you for 10 years, and when we meet you make me feel like a sucker, I'd ghost you too. Some men feel we hit gold, and if the conversation and energy is flat, we interpret that as maybe he misinterpreted you being tired as being completely uninterested. Girl, the second you said, give a guy that's not in your league a chance, Lord, I've been there, how and why do they do all that work just to ghost SMDH? Sounds to me like he was a good man, found that you weren't really feeling him and finally caught the drift. Some men just like the chase and are just meant to stay fans. I love the fact that you thought you was above him and he hit you and quit you.
At 36 years of age, still dumb as hell. Dumb. So stay the night. I wake up at like 8 in the morning. He's gone. I knew he would be gone. Let's also, when we got to the hotel room, obviously we showered. Baby, I'd never once seen this man without something on his head. You know that's a bad sign, right? Like you wouldn't put a do-rag on or whatever that was, his dreads. You wouldn't put that thing on your head to protect your hair. Cut it out. That hairline is on the struggle bus. I already know it is. Has to be. It can't. There's no other alternative. Anywho, yeah, I called him like when I woke up because I was hungover. And we had a little slight conversation, and he was like, "Hey, I gotta handle XYZ." Okay, go handle your business. I have not heard from that man since. He did exactly what I told him he would do. And I really hate that for him because he's dead to me. Dead, bitch. I called him a couple of times after that to like cuss him out, and he acted like he was just so busy at work. so busy with work and his child that he just couldn't fathom having this conversation right now, and that he would call me back. He called me back one time, I was asleep, and I have yet to have a conversation with him. Baby, he has since gotten the "you are dead to me and you are a fucking loser" text message, which I have not heard back from. I also think I blocked him, so I won't be getting that correspondence back from him. But I say all that to say, to you nice guys out there that, you know, you were hoping that one day I might give you a chance. I'm not interested in anybody. If you're not my type, I'm not even entertaining the thought of talking to you. He ruined it for all of you. Welcome. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. I am done embarrassing myself for the day.
Here, two key points are demonstrated. First, even when a woman has no real interest in a man, that doesn't necessarily stop her from going out with him. Second, when a woman hits the wall and her list of options shrinks, she starts accepting men she never would have considered in her younger years, even if they're not her type. This man played his card, but there are two possible explanations for what happened. First, there's a saying, don't get excited about the gift box until you've opened the gift. In other words, what you see in photos and on camera can be very different from what you find without filters in person. Perhaps the image this man had of her, the idealized 26-year-old he saw in photos a decade ago, wasn't the same as the 36-year-old woman standing in front of him. His illusion crumbled when he realized he was dealing with a very different version. Second, everything in the process, as she herself admits, showed signs of disinterest. Her gestures, her energy, her lack of chemistry. He probably noticed it, but decided to stick around to see how far things would go. They spent the night together, and the next day he simply concluded it wasn't worth the effort.
Here we are. I swore I wasn't going to make any more response videos to this, but since I'm getting attacked on YouTube, I'm getting attacked on here, I thought I would elaborate some. All right, so people think that I'm just upset that he ghosted me after I made him chase me for so long. That's not the case. Let me make it really clear. I, one, made that video for entertainment purposes. My life is literally hilarious. Like 10 billion things have happened since then that are way more entertaining than this. But of course, there has some sense of a negative connotation to it. So y'all are going to just grab this and hold on to it because y'all think y'all got all the answers on the internet. So one, I made it to be entertaining. You guys are clearly entertained. Two, sometimes you just got to like get something off your chest and then it's like, whew, that was cathartic and I'm gonna move on. My real reasoning for doing that video, other than the entertainment, was because I was trying to make a point of like, although this man used to, let me use my words wisely with you all. I used to confide in him. He used to always be like, I would never do you like that, Adrian. Those men are so stupid. You're such a, you're wifey material. You're this, you're that. And we forged some type of relationship over those 10 years. I'm not going to say that he was just some creep that I didn't know on the internet. Again, we had met previously, and I thought he was a good person. That's why I entertained him. That's why I did respond when I actually responded, because I thought he was a nice person. I just wasn't attracted to him as someone that I would date. Not because he was unattractive, just because I wasn't in the space to date him, or I just did not think that he was dating material for me. I thought we were more so better as friends. Which leads to why I made the video. I thought we were friends, and I thought he would understand that. I've told him a million times that I have gotten disrespected and ghosted and cheated on by other people in the past, and he promised me he would never do such a thing, right?
Are you sure he didn't hit? 'Cause why you so emotional about him then when you act like you're not that attracted to him? Something ain't adding up here. As much as you want to try to soften the blow, you still talked about his hairline and made it seem like he was just talking to himself in your DMs for years. Have to admit it was childish. I just don't understand why women do that. 6 to 8 months after that I'm done. Look what y'all get out of it. Wasted time? Y'all need Jesus for real. The part of the story that was weird to me is the way you described his appearance. That was a little mean, but you're entitled to define what's your caliber of men. It's never that serious. They found an open wound in a pretty girl and ate at that wound. That's all it is to it. Period. And it's okay for you to have your expectation I've gotten. Guys have the same whether they admit it. But why should he apologize for anything? He went above and beyond for 10 years to show you his interest. He went out of his way, drove 5 hours to see you, just to get mistreated by you.
So there was an open line of communication. My main issue was that when after our date or whatever you want to call that, our evening, if you were not attracted to me or you didn't feel like we were a good combination or I was dry, whatever you want to say, why wouldn't you just say, hey, Adrian, I really didn't catch a vibe with you, but, nonetheless, you still are a great person. I would love to still continue some type of friendship. That's a true adult. That's maturity, right? That's what I anticipated from him at the very least. And again, I had an expectation for him. Whenever you have expectations of people, you're generally going to get let down, right? So that's all that is. I have moved on. I don't care. I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck. We have not, communicated in any capacity since then, and I'm okay. Okay. I think y'all are more hurt than I am, and it's sad. But these videos, like these guys are doing on YouTube, and now women as well, is straight attacking me, because I said not in my league. That was for a lack of better words. When I don't even remember what I was trying to get across, but it's like that was so triggering to y'all. Some lady said she's not Beyonce, guys. I'm like, never claimed to be. I'm Adrienne Michelle. Like I am who I am, and I'm perfectly comfortable and secure in who I am. Like ease up off the brakes, my friend. Like I'm I just don't understand. I'll never understand because it's not me and y'all live in y'all's own world. But yeah, I don't think I'm in a league just because I'm pretty. I just think I fuck with a certain caliber of man and I did not date within that caliber. I'm not wrong for saying that. I'm sure you guys have boundaries and, boxes that you put people in as well, but fucking nail me to the cross, why don't you? But yeah, um, oh, I don't, I'm not really big on this influencer thing. I post on social media because it's entertaining. Um, but y'all are making it not fun. Anyways, have a great day.
I don't know about you, but to me, something definitely happened that night. Even if she says otherwise, her ego is clearly shattered. There's nothing more painful for a woman than for a man to put in so much effort to change her mind, finally get to be with her, and then disappear without ever reaching out again. It's like a man spending a ton of money on a first date or a trip, only for her to just take pictures and for nothing to come of it. The blow to the ego is massive. That's why I never recommend being the friend. Brothers, what's not a clear yes is a no. All the energy wasted in the friend zone is better spent on a woman who is genuinely interested in you. And even if you eventually manage to get something with her, the dynamic will never be the same. She'll always feel like she was the one who gave you a chance, rather than you winning her over. This means you'll always be the one putting in double the effort to keep the relationship alive, and that position leaves you without control. But the big question here is, why do you think this man didn't reach out to her again? To me, as I said, something else happened. The guy decided he wasn't into her after all. Like I said, don't fall in love with the gift box until you open the gift.
I knew that when I started TikTok, I was going to have haters and people that didn't agree with what I was doing or would support the idea. And I'll admit I've probably made many mistakes and posted things I shouldn't have posted. I never thought that it would be the people that were nearest and dearest to my heart that would have the most judgment and hate. I started TikToks because, well, for two reasons. One is I wanted to get more comfortable with having my face and voice on video for business. But two, I lost the person I loved for so long, and I needed to find a way, an outlet to try and heal. And there's so many people out there
in the TikTok world that are going through what I'm going through, and their videos and their messages really related and resonated with me. And so it felt like a good path for me. It felt like a good way of journaling what I was going through. The struggle of losing the person you were with your entire life and everyone that was connected to him, including your children and your extended family. I thought that my divorce would be amicable and we would be friends and we would get along. And we did when he had someone else in his life. But when I did, we didn't. He's asked me not to reach out to his family, and he's asked for no contact for a long time now. And I've done my best to do that, even though he does not.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This issue clearly reflects one thing: the lack of responsibility in women. Responsibility is kryptonite for women, and this becomes evident when they adopt behaviors without questioning them, simply because they see another woman doing the same. They act without thinking about the consequences for their friends or family. When your content revolves around exposing personal situations that affect others, conflicts are inevitable. Not everyone is willing to have their life aired on social media. And, as usual, the narrative always starts the same way: I'm the victim. My ex is the abuser, and it's all his fault. But those who know you, who know the truth, only see that your so-called healing process is actually a smear campaign against your ex. Brothers, if even your own children turn their backs on you because of this need for attention on the internet, maybe the problem isn't your ex or his family. When everyone around you disagrees with you, it's time to question whether you're truly the victim.
I thought that I was walking away because that's what he needed. I do no contact because that's what he needs. I don't reach out to the family that I was connected to for 28 years because that's what they need. I changed my TikTok to not be so focused on the negative and the tears. And I promised myself that I would not shed another tear. And here I am. So I've decided to switch my TikToks to be proud of myself, to be proud of how hard I've worked on my body, to be proud of what I've done, to show the happiness that I'm finding. And it just brings more hate. So if you don't like what I'm posting, don't watch it. I see it pop up. I know you're watching. Don't fucking watch it. Don't tell me you want me to be happy so that you can give your heart truly to someone else. And then go around and tell half-truths and lies about me and gossip about me because you want to maintain your narrative. We will never be friends. I don't know. Do I keep posting? Do I not? I continue to let you control me and make my decisions for me. And it just tells me that I'm not any stronger than I was before, and I still haven't healed. Maybe eventually you will realize that I truly did love you. To be the best parents for our kids is not the way it should be.
Stop it. Get some help.
28 years of marriage, and in the end, they end up as enemies. Who would have thought? What's curious is that it seems everyone is on the husband's side. It's hard to point fingers, but when even the children take a side, and that side isn't the mother's, there must be some truth to it. Responsibility, as always, is kryptonite for many women. As I said before, not everyone wants their personal life to become a public spectacle. Not everyone wants to be part of a narrative where they're painted as the abuser or part of that poor me story. Some people prefer to close chapters in private, far from TikTok and millions of people entertained by what should remain your private life. Not everyone wants their story to become a content platform to feed someone else's ego.
To all the fearless men out there, listen up. When I went up to my husband and I told him I wanted a divorce, do you know what he said to me? He said, Revi, I thought you would never go through with it. I was completely dumbfounded by his response. For so many years, I begged, I pleaded, I cried, I screamed, I yelled. I don't know how much more clear and more loud I was with him to tell him that I wasn't happy, that this marriage wasn't working. And he didn't listen. He didn't listen. So finally, I realized that I had to take care of myself, and I took myself out of this bad marriage. So guys, if your wife and your woman is telling you in 20 different ways she's not happy, I would make sure to listen to her. Because if you keep ignoring her, I promise you one thing, she will leave you.
When a man responds that way, it's because he's had enough. He's tired of the complaints, of his partner's constant unhappiness. Nowadays, marriage seems to revolve around keeping the woman happy, but the statistics speak for themselves. 80% of divorces are filed by women. A man can be carrying the weight of the household, covering all the expenses, enduring disrespect, and still, he won't be the one to ask for a divorce. But when a woman feels unhappy, even without clear reasons, she will be the one to leave. That's why, if her husband responded in that manner, he was likely exhausted from hearing complaints and just wanted to leave it all behind. Now, let's take a look at some comments. When I told my husband I wanted a divorce, he said he never saw it coming. Years of begging, crying, being miserable, left him 18 years and no regrets. Anyone in the lesser position of balance, they need to be supported/celebrated. But ultimately the one in power is the one who needs change. There are women who won't listen to unhappy husbands also. Sometimes people are doing the best they can, showing love the best they can, but it still isn't enough for the other person. People's needs change. This algorithm too accurate. My mom out of nowhere divorced my dad last year after 38 years, and he still has no idea why. It was a surprise for me and my siblings.
Being a woman in our 50s, post-divorce, empty nesters, some of you may have even gone through health crisis. I know I did. I had to go through breast cancer last year, passing of both my parents. I mean, shit, man. And now menopause. It's called life. It's called life, and life is worth living. And all I can tell every single fearless woman out there is don't give up. Don't give up. Days that are bad, they'll be bad, but the good news is that the sun always comes up the next day. It always starts fresh, new, and again. So you're worth fighting for. You're worth loving. You're worth giving. You're worth being. So you just take good care of yourself. Take all the time in the world. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get better, get stronger, get healthier, get happier. Put yourself in the front of the line. Put yourself at the top of the list. Learn to say no to others, because that means you're saying yes to you. You what?
She's alone and facing the wall. While the message might sound motivational, the reality is that if something happens to her tomorrow, she won't have any support. Everyone makes their own decisions, but many times those choices stem from an unwillingness to support their husband or do things for him. This often happens in their 50s, right when the husband is nearing retirement. That's when they decide to take 50% of everything because they deserve to be happy. As the woman in the comment mentioned, not even her daughter or ex-husband understand why the divorce happened after 38 years together. She simply didn't want to keep taking care of her husband. She decided to leave and live her life the way she wanted. Many women make this choice, but when reality hits, be it illness, loneliness, or financial struggles. They expect their children or family to step in. They had a husband willing to care for them, but they chose to leave him. Today, marriage no longer seems to be about taking care of each other. It appears to be solely about making the woman happy. And if she isn't happy, the marriage ends.
Child support arrears, $84,461.26.
That seems a little high.
I can't take it. I don't know what I'm gonna be home. $84,000 would accrue interest at about $422 per month.
Yeah, I can't afford it. I can't look at the rent, mortgage, lights, water bill, cell bill. You help your mom with her bills.
My proposed order, and this is going to be a little different from what y'all might have calculated in the breakout room, but my proposed order is going to be child support arrears after release in the amount of $84,461.26 as of April 22nd, 2024, with a payout of $473 per month starting May 1st. Child support of $481 per month starting May 1st, 2024. Medical support $128 per month starting May 1st, 2024. The custodial parent to apply for a government insurance plan, and court costs assessed to the non-custodial parent 60 days from today's date. That is the extent of the state's proposed order, and I'll call Miss Williams first. So, ma'am, did you hear the state's my proposed order just now?
What were the amounts again?
So let's go step by step. My records show that as of April 22nd, as of yesterday, he owes $92,461.26. That's before any credit is given. Do you agree that that number would be correct?
Before any credit given, yeah.
And has he made direct payments to you since the last time we were here?
Yes. It's been a while, but yes.
So my calculated number, the $84,461.26, that gave $8,000 worth of credit. Are you in agreement with that amount?
Yeah.
$92,461. Brothers, that's an enormous amount this man has to pay. In this country, having a child doesn't just mean child support. It also means arrears, interest, and accumulated penalties. Why on earth does this debt accrue interest? Look at how this man says he'll end up homeless. This system isn't designed to help the child. It's made to destroy the father. Who really benefits from this interest? It's certainly not the children. It's absurd that a system supposedly aimed at ensuring the child's well-being creates debts that suffocate the father. Let's continue.
Okay, and you agree, so you agree with my judgment amount after the credit, right?
Yes.
And you agree that he should pay that off at $473 per month?
Yes.
I also recalculated the child support a little bit. Do you know how many other children he has under the age of 18?
2.
And how are the 2 children on this case covered for health insurance?
I pay cash. Out of pocket.
Do you have access to insurance through an employer?
Not at this time.
Do you agree that he should pay child support of $481 per month starting May 1st?
I feel like that's a little high, but I feel like he needs to pay something, but that seems a little high based on the total for everything.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I'll move on. I'll move on. Do you agree that he should pay $128 per month for the medical support?
Yes.
If your address and phone number appear in the order, would that give you any safety concerns for yourself or the children?
Not at this time.
Now, the prior order, which was, I believe, a divorce decree in 2015, did not have a non-disclosure. Has there been any family violence between you and Mr. Williams since 2015?
Since 2015?
Since the prior order, yes.
No.
How long did this guy not pay? $92K is outrageous. He probably had a high-paying job prior to the divorce. My kid's dad was unemployed, lost his business. When they figured his CS with his ex, he was owing $1,100 per MO, making $12 per hour after he got a job. Child support has been ruled unconstitutional, and it's not in the best interest of the child, it's in the best interest of the courts. And they wonder why men reach a breaking point and don't want to go on anymore. Women don't care and get hurt when men don't care. My honest opinion is child support should come out after the dad's bills are covered, not before, because that leads a lot of dads to go homeless. The reason why the courts push so hard is because 40% of your child support goes to judge's retirement fund.
And a judgment of child support, a judgment on the child support arrears of $84,461.26.
Again.
You understand I gave you credit for $8,000 worth of direct payments to Miss Williams, right? You agree to pay that off at $473 per month?
No, I can't afford it.
So, I understand. You understand that $84,000 would accrue interest at about $422 per month. So the payout that we have to ask for on the arrears has to be more than $422. Is there an amount that you would propose to the court that you would prefer to pay other than $473? That the state is asking.
I can't afford it. I don't know what I'm gonna be homeless. I have 2 kids already. Anything will help, man. That's $1,000 right now. That's my rent.
Williams, he's asking you for a specific amount. That's the question. That's what I'm going to be asking as well. Other than the $473 on the arrears, what specific amount are you requesting to pay it off monthly, knowing that interest is $422 a month on the interest? What specific amount?
Like half of that.
I'll make the ruling. Go ahead to the next question, Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you currently employed, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And how much do you make per hour or salary? Or
$16.50 an hour.
do you work 40 hours a week?
Yes.
So we calculated based on gross monthly income of $2,860. That's $16.50 an hour and 40 hours a week. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And we also gave you credit for the 2 other children. Do you understand that? Your 2 other children besides the 2 on this case.
Okay.
The state's calculated guideline child support based on that information is that you would pay child support of $481 per month starting May 1st. Are you in agreement with that amount?
No, I can't afford it.
The worst part of this system is the coercion. This man will end up on the streets, and who wins? The state. Because, honestly, destroying the father doesn't benefit the mother or the child. But as we know, in this country, men don't matter. The only thing that seems to matter is that the mother gets that money, no matter the consequences. I keep wondering, how is this debt allowed to grow so much? This man probably made more money in the past, and now they're charging him based on a salary he no longer earns. This is daylight robbery. If you make more, they increase your child support. If you make less, it's almost impossible to get it reduced. The system isn't about justice, it's about your money. And then they wonder why birth rates are plummeting.
Is that you would pay child support of $481 per month starting May 1st. Are you in agreement with that amount?
No, I can't afford it.
I understand. Do you have access to health or dental insurance?
It's I'm on a seasonal position. It's just a very light kind of medical coverage while I'm here. There's nothing I can't do there. Yeah.
So you have a temp job or a permanent job, sir?
It's a permanent job. It's just I'm in a seasonal position.
Okay.
Been here quite a while.
Okay. Go ahead, Counsel.
Do you agree with the medical support of $128 per month?
Yeah.
And if your address and phone number appear in the order, would that give you any safety concerns for yourself or the children? And just to confirm, Ms. Williams said there hasn't been any sort of family violence between the 2 of you since the last order in 2015?
No.
Okay, before I make my ruling. So, the state of Texas charges interest on any judgment. That's 6%. And when we do the math, interest a month on that judgment, for those credits, is $422 per month. If you pay less than $422 per month, that judgment is just going to get bigger and bigger. Also, child support is based on all your income, all your overtime, how many minor children you have before the court with Ms. Williams, giving you credit for the other 2 minor children, that you have that are under the age of 18 or still in high school, giving you credit for the cost of the health insurance and union dues. That's all that I can look at. I can't look at the rent, mortgage, lights, water bill, cell bill. You help your mom with her bills. That's all that I can look at. Okay? So with that being said, I am going to confirm that you owe $84,461.26. The monthly payout is $473 is the request, and I'm going to grant that beginning May 1st, 2024. Child support of $481 beginning May 1st based on Texas law. Medical $128 beginning May 1st. Court costs, I traditionally order that 60 days out to be paid by the respondent, Mr. Williams. I'll give you 6 months. Now, if either one of you disagree with my ruling, you can appeal my decision. You would have to file it yourself or hire your own private attorney. The AG's office does not represent you nor the mother. Unless a district court judge changes this order, this becomes the order of the court immediately, with or without your signature. You both will receive a copy of this order today via your email, and you both are free to go. Have a good day.
That is sad. He should have told them take me to jail. Child support system is cold. My brother did 2 years in prison for being $13,000 behind. Ohio. His take-home is around $2K monthly, and they want him to pay more than half of that and still support himself and 2 children off the rest? There has to be a better solution for a man that is working full-time and willing to pay his half. So sad. The saddest part about this is there is a high probability that this man will live himself before she gets any of that money. Just look at the desperation on his face. And then they wonder why so many men give up. Some prefer going to jail. Others, the more responsible ones, simply step away. It's because of abuses like this. This man is being forced to pay a debt equivalent to half the price of a house. A debt that will only continue to grow due to accumulated interest. That's why more and more men are choosing not to get married, not to have kids, and not to start families. And when you add paternity fraud to the mix, the situation gets even worse. It's absurd that some men still refuse to take DNA tests, knowing that a woman and a judicial system can ruin their lives. Unfortunately, this man is already destroyed. Even if he managed to get a better job, which is unlikely, he'd still be chained to this debt. It's a vicious cycle that not only affects men but also future generations. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. Do you think this man will manage to pay off the $84,000? Do you believe the child support system imposed by the state is fair? If you enjoyed the video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I'm also leaving you 2 videos about disastrous divorces. Feel free to check them out and leave your comments. See you in the next video of The Wall.